Olson was partly responsible for getting Donald Trump elected. Would you be surprised to learn that he now regrets doing so?
You and I and everyone else who supported him, you wrote speeches for him, I campaigned for him. I mean, we're implicated in this for sure. Yes. It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like, in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now. Yes. So I do think it's like a moment to our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be. And I want to say I'm sorry for misleading people. It was not intentional. That's all I'll say. But anyway, but the question does present itself immediately, like, what is this? Was this always the plan? You don't want to be a conspiracy nut, but like, clearly there were signs of low character. We knew that. Yes. But it didn't, there are tons of people of low character who like outperform their character. It doesn't have to be.
Sort of the norm, actually, these days.
Right.
What were the signs of low character in Donald Trump? How didn't we spot it? How were we to know?
I've outperformed my character a lot.
A lot.
I don't have especially high character, right? But you try to you try your best. But what was this? Was this always the plan?
Looking back after the last year and a half, it seems like it kind of was, and it's easy. Well, you could get really deep about it and say, what was Butler? Like, how was it that and Ryan Ruth, I mean, he was subject to 2 legitimate assassination attempts. Have we ever gotten to the bottom? I know you've talked a lot about this, but have we ever gotten to the bottom of that?
I've talked a lot about it. I don't know the answer, but I know that those investigations have been stymied. Fact.
Yeah, stymied from the very top, from people who actually would have the power to get to the bottom of it.
And the motive.
Yeah.
2 legitimate assassination attempts on Trump. The second one went under the radar a little bit. It was when he was playing golf and we kind of just dismissed it. But the ear one, when his ear magically grew back after a couple of days, that was the famous moment. And a lot of people question, was it for real?
Yeah, very much. So the enormous amount of money he got from Miriam Adelson now seems suspect to a lot of people at the time, but there's a lot of money in politics. To run for president requires an enormous. I mean, Kathleen Camilton went through $2 billion in 4 months. So, sure, there's an argument to be made that you get money from those who will give it to you. It's just the nature of them. But it's still reprehensible, and it's still a big question mark. Why would someone who has obvious and demonstrated allegiance to a foreign power give Donald Trump $250 million while he's running for president? I mean, how is that defensible? It's really not. If Russia had given a PAC for Trump, if the mayor of Moscow had somehow, assembled an enormous amount of money and put it in a 501c3 for Trump's benefit, would that have been acceptable? Of course it wouldn't have been. So what does it's so basic, it comes back to the money. Like, what did they get in return for that amount of investment? And it's clear.
I get it. No, I mean, of course, I agree with every word that you're saying. I just think, given his behavior and his demonstrated disloyalty and viciousness to previous supporters,
yes,
why wouldn't he display the same lack of loyalty to Miriam Adelson? I mean, that's kind of the question. The only people he's been loyal to are the neocons and his donors.
Loyal to the neocons. Some people do think that Trump is loyal to Russia, or that he's in the pockets of Russia somehow. Is he being loyal? Has he been bribed? Has he been bought? Or has he been threatened? We know all about the files. Let's hear a great AI dubbing of this man's speech.
And today we were compelled to act together with our great ally, the United States, against the terror state par excellence, which indeed threatens the entire world and has already attacked many countries. It attacked their civilians with powerful ballistic missiles, and sought indeed was on the verge of developing the ultimate terror weapon.
This is Benjamin
Nuclear
Netanyahu
bombs.
speaking, and it's
This
being translated.
immediate threat we have removed. And we will continue to fight with all our strength against terror states, and of course also against terrorists who deliberately target innocent civilians.
So some people would argue that Trump is loyal to his government, and he's talking about our great ally and doing something together. Was it together, or was it one pushing another? Let's have another clip.
I don't have the tinfoil hat on just yet, Congressman, but I'm wondering, kind of how you react to that, because you are connected. You're on the UFO subcommittee. I mean, I'm just wondering what you make of that. Have you heard anything like that?
Oh, the latest conspiracy theory, by the way, Trump is going to go after the UFOs. We said it would happen. We said that there would be an alien invasion, or would it be a staged alien invasion? But now Trump is talking about UFOs. As he's running the clock down on his second term, he's brought up the UFO problem.
Well, I'm still a member of Congress, so I can't really comment too much on what Matt said. But I will say this.
Wait, seriously? Are you being serious, or is that
I'm
tongue in
being
cheek?
100% serious. Okay. I've been 100% serious. I've been briefed by just about every alphabet agency there is. And I'll just tell you this. If they would release the things that I've seen, you would stay up. You'd be up at night worrying about or thinking about this stuff. We just need to disclose it all. I'm sick of it. Well, I was briefed. I'll just tell you this. I was briefed last week on an issue, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago, and it would have set the earth on. This country would have come unglued, I think, if they would have heard all that I heard. They would demand answers, and we need to. But it's never going to get. Unfortunately, it just keeps getting covered up, and the people that know are dying or disappearing, as the case may be.
Wow.
And for the record, I'm not suicidal, and I don't take risks. So,
I'm glad you said that. I'm speechless, Congressman. We
you
will
should
have you
be.
back.
You should be. And I told the president, release it all. And the problem is, the people that are around the president don't know and the president doesn't know the questions to ask. A few of us are going to have to get with the president and tell him what he needs to ask and where he needs to look. I mean, we're in meetings and they give addresses and tell locations of items, I'll just say. And the public has a right to know, dadgummit. It's your tax dollars.
Absolutely.
Let's get it out there.
You got my attention, Congressman. I appreciate you being as forthcoming as you have been tonight, and we look forward to having you back. Look, I know Donald Trump wants to disclose something. He hasn't done it yet, but I think he wants to be the president to do that. Tim Burchett, thank you.
Donald Trump wants to disclose something. He's got something to tell us. It's always described as a distraction, isn't it? People said that the attack on Iran was a distraction from the Epstein files. And then when that was going on, Trump's wife brought up the files again. And people said, well, that was a distraction from the war, back shifting the focus back the other way. And now the ultimate distraction is aliens. That's it. When it all gets too much, when we're up to our neck in war and compromat and EP files, what shall we do? Well, let's tell them about the UFOs. And for years, it was the conspiracy theorists that were saying, aliens are real, aliens are visiting us, I've seen a UFO outside my bedroom window. And then when we finally get close to the truth being admitted and it becoming official that, yes, we have made contact, the conspiracy theorists couldn't bear it. And they said, no, it's fake. They're going to fake an alien invasion. The people that have been banging on about aliens for years, when it's finally on the news, they deny it and they don't listen. It's a fake alien invasion. There's no such thing as aliens. Or there are, but these are not them. A little bit like the way we went to the moon, but they faked the footage of it. Let's have another clip.
So you got to try to deal with it. And then there was a report out that they had an emergency meeting Saturday night. And apparently, well, one report coming out of that meeting at the White House is that Trump wanted to use the nuclear codes, and General Dan Kane
Use the nuclear codes. I don't like the sound of that.
stood up and said no. He invoked his privilege as the head of the military, so to speak. It was apparently quite a blow up. There are pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down to the ground. So, you know, there's some very, very bizarre things going on in D.C.
Well,
This was the biggest concern, wasn't it, when Donald Trump won the election twice, that you've got a guy like that with his finger over the button, a guy that seems so unhinged. When you look at some of his tweets, and I don't know if he's doing it deliberately, is he trying to look unhinged? Remember, we must appear weak when strong and strong when weak. Is he trying to make himself look like this irrational buffoon that will react to any kind of insult, any kind of attack on his character? He seems so paranoid about ever losing face, doesn't he? And he's always kind of feeling sorry for himself, and he says things like, "Oh, you know, I don't get any credit for it anyway, but that's okay. That's okay." When he spoke to Mamdani, and Mamdani had accused him of being a fascist, and he kind of brought it up. And Mamdani tried to avoid the question, and he said, "It's okay. You can say that. That's all right." He's always kind of feeling sorry for himself and saying, "Well, no one likes me, but it doesn't matter." Do you think he really is that unhinged, and he's the kind of leader that would press the nuclear button, that we are at risk? Will you be breathing a sigh of relief when he finally shuffles off the stage and is taken to the retirement home? Or is it all an act? Is he being very clever? Is the wise man playing a fool? Is it all a deliberate deception? I really don't know. Let me know in the chat. Do you think Trump is really unhinged, or is he tricking you? Here he is having an interview on a plane, and again he seems to have said one thing and the truth seems to be quite different. We're talking about Iran here.
You told me on the phone earlier that everything has been agreed to. You told me earlier that everything has been agreed to. Iran was saying something different. So what has been worked out in that time?
What? Say something different because, you know, they have people that they have to cater to also. I really don't. I'm just doing the thing that's right. I'm just saying it like it is. We have a situation, I think, that is going to be very beneficial. And the main thing is that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. You cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon, and that supersedes everything else.
Talking about ceasefire discussion, and I think that ceasefire runs out in less than 24 hours, and very sadly we may return to hostilities in the Middle East. Such an uncertain time for a lot of people, whether you live in the Middle East or not. Nuclear is global, isn't it? And he's saying that Iran must not have nuclear weapons. But why not say nobody? Why should anybody have nuclear weapons? The whole point of nuclear weapons is if anyone uses it, it's mutually assured destruction, and we're all going to be finished. So why doesn't he say, like the campaign for nuclear disarmament, let's just not have nuclear weapons? You can't have one have it and another not. We've either got to all have it or no one have it. Rather like the Second Amendment in America, where they believe that the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And the gun nuts that all vote for Donald Trump, or say that, well, we've all got to have a gun because the bad guys will always have a gun. So if the bad guys have always got nuclear weapons, we all better have nuclear weapons, haven't we? Because how are we? We've either got to do away with all of them, or give them to everybody. In the chat, Jerry Gonzalez is saying Jesus is Lord. I don't know why people come on here just to spout their own religious dogma. What good does that do? You already believe that. Do you really think anyone's going to start following your religion because you put a comment on a YouTube live? Gladys is saying nobody should want to destroy. Yes, I know, but it's like in the film, was it Batman? What's the film where they've got two boats and on each boat there's a cannon that could destroy the other boat? If you've both got a cannon that can destroy the other boat, do you press the button before the other people eliminate you so that you can't eliminate them? If you've both got access to a weapon that can destroy someone else, the instinct to protect yourself might cause you to eliminate someone else. John Anthony is saying, how do you disarm those with them already? Also, other nations don't proudly admit it. They'll use those weapons. What is the moment they have them? Well, Israel have nuclear weapons. Your argument is that other nations will use them on Israel the minute they get them. Well, why would they do that? So Iran must not have them then. If they would do it the minute they got them, according to you, they must not have them then, because that minute hasn't arrived yet. No one has used nuclear weapons apart from the US. Was Hiroshima, Nagasaki? That was atomic weapons, wasn't it? The atomic bomb. Are they nuclear? Very similar. I'm not a weapons expert by any stretch of the imagination. And we've got more religious nutters in the chat. Jesus Christ is alive. Okay, but why do people make their religion their personality? Why not walk with Jesus? Be like Jesus. And that will be a better example. Jerry is saying, we are living in prophetic times. All this must happen. Okay, but is not all of history prophetic? If you believe that prophecy comes from God, doesn't God plan everything? Every time is prophetic. When the followers of Jesus were with him and he said goodbye and said, I'll be back, they expected him to come back very soon, imminently. And it's been 2,000 years. Martin is saying the intergalactic spaghetti monster is watching you all. And I think that's a reference to, is it Richard Dawkins who says, oh, there's no more evidence for God than there is for the intergalactic spaghetti monster. And because you can't prove that, then, you know, technically you can't prove the other. We've got a comment from Jebediah. Back in 1993, at the McDonald's All-Star game, I was 13 years old, and I dunked on Shaquille O'Neal, but I don't really want to talk about it. Okay, thank you very much. The Sir Roman is asking, who is the Messiah from Judaism? Well, the Messiah, Missa, anointed, the one who has been anointed, the one that was chosen to do something. Christians believe, and Muslims believe, that was Jesus. Jewish people reject that idea, and they are still waiting for someone else as a Messiah. But I believe if you go to the original Hebrew Bible and read it in Hebrew, and Messiah is a Hebrew word, the Greek translation of which is Christ, there were other people described as Messiah. I think David, Solomon also possibly, were described literally as Messiah, someone chosen to do something. And Jewish people do accept King David, of course, and King Solomon. And whether you accept one or another or all, we've all got a lot in common. And I do prefer to look at what brings us together rather than dwell on the divisions. You know, if you believe that Jesus is going to come back, one day he will sort it out. And Jebediah is saying, I love you from Houston, Texas. Thank you very much, Jebediah. Houston, we have a problem. What a iconic line. Balmy Cat is saying, but they reject Christ. Yes, I know. But they believe in a Messiah, and whether that was Jesus or someone in the future, then you believe in the same concept. And God is outside time, isn't he? So I don't think we should dwell on whether you think it was this person or I think it was that person. There's been many people over the years that have claimed to be certain messengers from God. I mean, Meme Pound is saying Jesus and you missed the bus. Okay, well, if you believe that God is forgiving, is all forgiving, I'm sure he will forgive people that looked for the message and didn't quite decipher it, that missed the bus, as you call it. But is the important point not to look for it? And T. Tapao is mentioning Imam Mahdi. So in the Muslim religion, there is this concept of an imam and a leader coming at the end times prior to Jesus, a precursor for the return of Christ. And there's debate about who that will be, and the different sects disagree slightly, but they agree that someone is coming. And Jebediah is saying, what are your thoughts on the abnormalities or oddities in the book of Enoch? Do you believe them to be angels, aliens, and what have you? Well, good friend of mine, I've just uploaded a video of him responding to a question about boxing. Andre McIntyre, he's got the book of Enoch. When he's finished reading it, I will borrow it from him and I can let you know. But I know that the Elohim, this word for God in the Hebrew Bible, Eloha, like Allah in Arabic, Elohim, it is a plural, but it is a plural out of respect. Some people believe that the beings described as the sons of God that intermingled with the daughters of men, that these are aliens, and that the fact that they were coming down from a spaceship, people thought that they were coming from God. Who knows? When I was in Peru, one of my best holidays, I saw the Nazca lines, these depictions of images in the sand that you can only see from above, that were only discovered from above when they first flew over that part of Peru. And some people say that these pictures were drawn by the gods. The gods drew these pictures on the ground from above, or maybe it was aliens. And some people say, well, no, it was the people that drew them for the gods, for the aliens. Look, if someone arrives tomorrow from the sky, if you've got a primitive or old-fashioned mindset, you will think that they're an angel from the heavens, from the samawat, from the skies. If you're a scientist, you will say, oh, well, he's an alien. This is an extraterrestrial. But these are just different names we give the same thing. It's like people, I watch a lot of the pro-life, pro-choice debates, and they talk about, it's not a baby, it's a fetus. Well, a fetus is another word for a baby. Small human child, or whatever it means in Latin. Maybe alien, extraterrestrial is another word for angel or a jinn. A lot of people talk about the jinn being these beings created from fire. Literally, jinn means unseen, something hidden. You could call bacteria jinn. We can't see bacteria with the naked eye. Bacteria can be very bad for you, can make you ill, can take over your body, the way that people believe that the jinn can take over your body and your mind. Even the Arabic word for crazy, majnoon, you've gone crazy, means you've been overtaken by the jinn. Maybe bacteria is a more scientific word, a different word for the same thing. So Roman is asking, have you looked into the book Codex Gigas? You visit any shamans while in Peru? We did look for a shaman or a Shay woman, but we weren't really there long enough to do the whole ayahuasca thing. The closest we got was nibbling on the coca leaves that ward off the altitude sickness when you're up there high in the mountains, getting high in the mountains. But that was about it, and it's not illegal over there. Jose saying bacteria is also a microorganism that is a sign of life on another planet. Well, did they find any bacteria on one of the moons of Jupiter? I can't remember if they do. Shall we see one more clip? I know we've gone a bit off tangent there talking about aliens, but Donald Trump does look like he's from another planet sometimes. Let's have a listen.
And now that the Hormuz Strait situation is almost over, I received a call from NATO asking if we would like some help. Thank you very much, NATO. And I told them I would have liked your help 2 months ago, but now I really don't want your help anymore. Because they were absolutely useless when we needed them. But actually, we never needed them. They needed us. They need us. They need us so badly.
It's amazing to hear Donald Trump distance himself from NATO. I thought that America were the country that led NATO and would follow America wherever they went or whatever they did, but he's actually breaking ties with NATO, going it alone with this attack on Iran. People in the chat are debating whether we are obsessed with Donald Trump. I'll be honest with you, I talk about Donald Trump because it's topical. And I know that if I put Donald Trump as the topic, we'll get plenty of people in the chat and we can talk about it. I just want to have a good old chat, a discussion, freedom of speech, whatever people want to talk about, whatever's relevant. I do think it is relevant to our time. He must be the most important decision maker on the planet at the moment. And you look at the kind of decisions he's making, it's a bit worrying. Ego is saying F NATO. Yeah, I would agree with that. George Galloway is very involved with the No to NATO campaign. Why do we still need NATO? It was invented when we had the Cold War, and we don't have that anymore. We've got worse in reality. Stinky is saying he is the catalyst. Do you think so? Is Donald Trump causing all of this, or is he reacting to it? Let's get one more clip up.
As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way? To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I'm thinking this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am. So I'm pleased to report today, I thought I'd save it for this crowd because you're a little bit out there, a little bit. That this process is well underway and we found many very interesting documents, I must say, And the first releases will begin very, very soon. So you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure. Let me know. But we've had a lot of questions. It's something that really captivates the mind. There's no question about it.
Phenomena. Someone's going to clip that and edit it with the song if I don't do so first. Sam Roman is saying, you ever been to India and visited any Hindu temples? Well, I've been to a former part of India. I was in Pakistan, as I often mention, in 2018 when Imran Khan won the election. And I went to the Wagah border ceremony right up just on the border between Pakistan and India. So I've seen India. I could almost reach out and touch it, but I could not because it's guarded by the border guards, and they do a little bit of a dance off every day at the closing of the border. And you're asking, have I ever been to any Hindu temples? Well, I've been to the Neasden Temple in northwest London, which is a wonderful Hindu mandir temple, and it was, I think, each piece got constructed and sent over from India and reconstructed, put back together bit by bit over here. So it is a classic piece of Indian architecture right in northwest London. And the question here, what's your opinion on Orban losing to Peter Magyar in Hungary? Peter Magyar. Does Magyar mean Hungary in Hungarian? I remember seeing it on stamps, I think from Hungary, Magyar. So did Peter Hungary become the leader of Hungary? I don't know enough about it. I know that Orban was kind of close to Putin, far right, outside the coalition, a bit of an opponent to the Western alliance, you could say. More comments about Jesus not white. All of these things that get debated so much, they just sort of come up again and again, don't they? Things like, what race was Jesus? Should we have the death penalty? And is the earth flat? It's not, by the way. Shall we have a couple more clips? We'll go to we'll go one more Trump and then we'll go back to the UK, as we are in the UK. Donald J. Trump here with Joe Rogan.
You think in my first term, for 28 years, drug prices went up, and I got it down 1/4 or 1/8%. I was so proud of myself. It's the only one that in 28 years got them down. And I had a news conference to explain how great I was. I said, I'm the greatest there ever was. I got it down 1/8%. Okay? I was very proud because it only went up. For 28 years, it went up. Now I got it down a little bit. And now I got it down 50%, 60%, 70% with these guys. So now I am, But nobody wants to write about it. But it doesn't matter because the people have found.
Nobody wants to write about it. Nobody wants to say anything good about Donald J. Trump, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind. He's always feeling sorry for himself, isn't he? And there he was commenting on getting the price of drugs down by 0.5%. That's something to celebrate. Such a huge industry, isn't it? And T Tapo is referring to him as the Great White Hype, a play on words for the Great White Hope, which were they used to refer to the idea that black athletes were dominating heavyweight boxing, and the American public longed for a Great White Hope, someone that would come along and win the world title. And Jerry Cooney came very close when he challenged for the world title, I think against Larry Holmes. Didn't happen. But there is a white undisputed heavyweight world champion at the moment, Alexander Usyk, but he's not American, so it doesn't really count, does it? And the Sir Roman is asking, what do you think the reason why they've been hiding aliens? Well, look, it depends which type of conspiracy theorist you are, doesn't it? On the one hand, some people think there are aliens and the government has been hiding them because they don't want you to know the truth. And if you've seen Men in Black, you remember the clip where he says to Will Smith, Will Smith says, well, people can handle the truth. People are sensible. And he says, a person is sensible. I'm paraphrasing, but people are not. In a group, we can't handle a fact like that. So you could argue there are aliens. The government know about it. They're all in Area 51. If you watch The World for You, another channel that we have on here sometimes, Saj, he's been out there to Area 51 and investigated the whole thing. And it's very much a tourist hotspot. And people want to believe. It's like on Fox Mulder's poster on the X-Files, I want to believe. People love the idea that there are aliens and that we're not being told about them. But on the other hand, you've got people that say, oh, well, no, there are not aliens, it's fake, and the government is about to fake an alien invasion. I won't believe a thing until it's been officially denied. Some people are just completely contrarian, and they believe in every conspiracy theory going, and the minute something's on the news and it's confirmed as true, they will just say, oh, no, it's not. I don't believe that. That is their gut reflex reaction. They have to take the minority opinion. They have to feel like they're in a correct minority, and they don't want to go with the sheep. The sheeple, you've all been brainwashed, not me, I'm different. Some people are like that. And there's some debate going on in the chat. Great Orange Liar, that's reference to Trump. Did Trump talk about the naval guerrilla warfare going on and that US Navy had to go back 100 miles? Don't think so. Is that going on in the Straits of Hormuz? Someone's bigger on their conspiracy theory. Anonymous, nice name, is saying Project Bluebeam. Yeah, Project Bluebeam was this idea that one day the government or the deep state will shine a blue beam up in the sky to signify that aliens have contacted us, and they will usher in, interestingly, so the theory goes, a one world religion that we're all going to follow. And that kind of has connotations with the Antichrist, the false Christ, and a lot of people suspect that something like that will eventually happen. Jose is asking, have you ever researched the Lacerda scripts? It's supposedly a fiction. It talks about an interview with a reptilian. It's very interesting. I bet it is reptilians and all that. We love a bit of that on this channel. And so Roman is saying, you study the likes of astral projection, Akashic records, or remote viewing. Well, I've heard of astral projection. People believe that when they can go into a deep meditative state, that they come out of their body and they sort of have a out of body experience. I think you could believe that you had an experience. I mean, what perception is reality, isn't it? If you go into a trance and you believe that you come out of your body and you look down, some people, when they go under the knife and they're put into full sleep for the operation, they believe that they saw themselves being operated on from above and they could hear the doctors talking about them. But maybe they're just subconsciously still slightly awake. I don't know. What's known as the night journey, the Isra wal Miraj in the story, the Islamic story of the Prophet, peace be upon him, who travelled at night on a mythical beast or horse known as Burak. This is the time when the Prophet travelled all the way to Jerusalem. I was looking at the etymology the other day of Isra and mirage. And I think Isra is the travelling along, and the mirage is going up. So he travelled along to Jerusalem, and you can see the spot in Masjid al in not Masjid al-Aqsa, next to Masjid al-Aqsa, in the dome of the under the dome of the rock which is said to have his footprint in it from where he ascended up. The Isra was the journey there. The Mirage was the journey up into the heavens. That could be a literal journey and a physical miracle. That could be an out-of-body experience. That could be what you refer to as astral projection. I don't know. We've all got different names for the same thing, haven't we? That's what I think. And what you might call a jinn, someone else might call it bacteria. Let's have another clip from Donald J. Trump. We said we were going to talk about the UK. So let's go British for a bit. I want to bring back British.
September, the Prime Minister stood at this dispatch box and told the House he had full confidence in Peter Mandelson, a man whose relationship with convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein was public knowledge. The Prime Minister knew and backed him anyway. Now he claims he had no idea that this twice-fired government minister had failed MI6 vetting, despite journalists putting that directly to Downing Street that very same month. Mr. Speaker, we all know that the Prime Minister appointed Mandelson because he owes his job to him. Yep. He appointed him, he defended him, and now he claims to know nothing. He is gaslighting the nation. So let's call this out for what it is. The Prime Minister is a barefaced liar, and if you had any decency left...
No, order, sit and leave. Leave now. I'll name you otherwise. I'd go now if I were you.
That's the UK Parliament.
I'm not leave.
Order.
I've now named. I've given the option to leave. I'd leave if I were you very quickly. Move before I read it and give you one option. Right, give me that. You have no duties. It's my duty to carry out and control this house. One chance. Do you want to leave now or not? Right. I name Zara Sultana. Minister, I beg to move that the name, the said member, be suspended from the House. Jane Kitchener.
I beg to move that Zara Sultana be suspended from the service of the House.
The question is that Zara Sultana be named and leave this House. All those in favour? Aye. Leave. I'm sorry you've done this. I really am. Right.
So you can't pick on people. She accused Keir Starmer of not being a great guy, and she got kicked out of the Parliament for it. And that's how it works over in the UK. In the chat, we've got various questions. Nonconformist said, I have quoted authentic hadith multiple times and you have not responded. All right, I don't know what you're talking about. We had another comment about water. We drink radiation charged smart meter water like it's 1910, except now we take showers with it. Okay, look, you can get obsessed over water and what you drink and what you don't drink. I know some people don't drink tap water. Yes, there are maybe chemicals in tap water that are bad for you. But do you know what's really bad for you? Not drinking enough water. So, yes, I do drink tap water. There, I said it. Sorry, I'm not a complete loony tinfoil hat wearer, but I think it's important to drink enough water. Whether it's radiation charge, what does that even mean? What does water get charged? I know people that believe in homeopathy think that water can do all kinds of things, but that's just placebo effect, isn't it? And placebo is real. Placebo works, but it works when you believe in it. Someone asking an opinion. What's your opinion on that, brother? My opinion on what? Was that a question for me? Odin is saying the snakes and ticks are multiplying as birds like the bald eagle are being forced extinct from mirrored solar panels and inhumane EMF levels with no regulating end in sight, unfortunately. I was taking a walk out in nature the other day, and I did wonder, where are all the insects? You used to see bees and flies and wasps everywhere. I'm afraid of wasps. I'm partly glad that they're not around, but it does seem like there's far fewer insects. I haven't even seen a spider for a long time. So Roman's saying that EP files imply that what people call them, the ones behind the power of government. So until they aren't sure that there is no trace of them, the case will not be solved. Okay. Yeah, have they been released? Have they all been released? What would you rather was released? All of the EP files or all of the UFO files? Would you rather know what your leaders and powerful people are doing, or would you want to know whether or not we've been contacted by aliens? What's more important in the grand scheme of things? Anonymous is saying water can have irradiated particles but cannot hold radiation, as far as I know. I don't know. I love the idea that water has got memory, and that if you have two glasses of water and you say positive things over one of them, all the positive vibes are going to go into that water, and if you drink it, it's going to do you loads of good. And that if you have other water that doesn't have that, or it won't be as good. I love the idea of that. How true that is, or how scientific that is, I don't know. I know that when they look at the sound waves, I'm sure you've heard the theory about when the way that music was recorded was altered, and the sound waves that we have now are very erratic, very disturbing. Whereas if you listen to old classical music, it's very harmonious, very smooth, and the shape of the waves that they make are very symmetrical and calming, rather than this disturbing, chaotic shape and form that you get from the modern music that you listen to. There's a lot of people that say that you shouldn't listen to music at all. Other people say that it depends what type of music you listen to and what kind of lyrics. There's a guy called Mark Devlin who talks a lot about music and how the occult have influenced the music industry. Very fascinating speaker, and the messages within music. Some people believe that if you play certain tracks backwards, you can hear different messages. I don't know about that, really. Do you guys think the whole world is already ready for the aliens? I used to be ready for aliens. Non-conformist is saying, because remember, brother, even the corrupted Quran tells you the Messiah returns on Judgment Day, not Muhammad. Well, I don't know why you're calling the Quran corrupted, non-conformist. Corrupted or corrupt? What are you trying to say? That there was a perfect version of the Quran? Most people would tell you that the Quran is the same now as it was when it was first revealed. So I don't know where you can say it was corrupted from, but I take your point. So Roman is asking, do you think NASA went to the moon a couple ago? I don't know. I couldn't bet on it. I really don't know. And I used to really care about whether the moon landing was real or not. I suspect that they went to the moon and they faked some of the footage. Joe Rogan does a good bit on how they couldn't have made the phone call and they lost the technology and the original footage has been recorded over. But I really don't know, and I couldn't say one way or another. And we've got more. John is saying, if there is a higher intelligence spicy, I think he means species, do you think they are happy with a cruel and violent race like humans? Yeah, look, if we do encounter any kind of intelligent life at any point, I hope they are ahead of us in terms of morality. We always think they're going to be really highly evolved in terms of their technology, and they're going to, they're going to be able to teleport and do all kinds of things like that. But I'm hoping that they will be intelligent beings that don't try and harm each other. If they are more advanced than us technologically, we better hope that they're ahead of us in terms of morality. Because if you look at how the so-called civilized countries, the imperial powers that went to other parts of the world and landed like aliens, as if they'd come from outer space, where when Europeans landed in the Americas and the indigenous people encountered them, it was like meeting someone from another planet, wasn't it? And look how they treated them. They took advantage of them, and worse. I hope that doesn't happen when the Greys or the reptilians or whatever you want to call them arrive back from their planet to pick us up. Maybe we are their experiment. And when the white colonialists, when the white man arrived in Africa, the native Africans thought they had stories about a pale race that had come down from the sky that people take to mean aliens, and they thought that this was these people returning once again. I can't remember the name that they gave to these aliens that they thought were coming back, but look it up, it's all online. Jose is saying, can we imagine that we are the aliens here on Earth and that this planet was already the habitat of an intelligent and advanced race? And that comes from the Lacerta file. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe so. And look, what is an alien? If you're from another continent and you've never made contact before, as far as the people are concerned, that's like meeting an alien, isn't it? Hector's saying we don't need religion. Tim is saying, oops, wrong channel. You all need God. Well, look at that. We've got two opposing views in the chat, and each of you are welcome. The algorithm will just repeat what you want to hear. The internet will just show you what you already agree with. And I'm trying to go against that. I'm trying to get people from different sides of the coin to come here and let us reason together. I believe it says that in the Bible. Nonconformist saying, you say you don't need a religion, but you take your concept of human rights from Christianity, where everyone is made in the image of God. So if you don't want religion, you don't get universal rights. Okay. Jericho, that's an interesting name, Jericho. Ariha. Is there still trouble with the English and the Irish? I remember it on the news back in the day, and there was a lot of trouble over there. Thankfully, not so much trouble anymore. The troubles are over, but people are still working for, hoping for, and campaigning for a united Ireland, which is something we should all look forward to, in my opinion. So Roman is asking, what do you think they're hiding in Antarctica? I don't know. If you really want to go to Antarctica, just go there. I know there's an Antarctic treaty, but it doesn't mean that if you're hinting at a flat Earth, forget it. Nonconformist is suggesting that there's no concept of human rights without Christianity. Well, I don't know about that. I think, look, every religion grants people a certain number of rights, doesn't it? Some people, can you have too many rights? How many rights are there for human beings? When does the right to life begin? Hector is saying religion is unchanging, but mind and consciousness are dynamic, more suited. Is religion not changing? Does religion not change with the time? Does religion not come at a certain time when mankind is ready for it? And if you believe what it says in the Quran, that is the final revelation for mankind. But even the Quran was revealed over many, many years. It didn't happen overnight. And Minato was saying, do you believe in human rights? If yes, then please give my rights. Okay, not sure what you mean by that. We have to be careful with the words that people use. Stewie is saying morality doesn't come from religion, it comes from our capacity to be empathetic. Okay, well, maybe religion comes from that as well. It's like chicken and the egg. Every culture has a religion, so it's obviously in our DNA, in our blood, to believe in something, to look for where we came from, to question how are we here. And maybe some societies, when they get so advanced, so technologically advanced, when they've got all the knowledge, they start to think, well, we don't need to know how we were created. We were not created. We start to think that we are like God, and that's when a civilization will collapse, won't it? All the great civilizations, they grow, they blossom, they bloom, and then they collapse. And we might be in the middle of that right now. Nonconformist is saying, show me a country where people are empathetic and they are all treated decently, which isn't Western Christian, or at least Western Christian influence. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one. There's no perfect country, is there? And maybe that's is that thanks to Christianity? It's great teachings, the Bible. Love thy neighbour, do unto others as you would have them do to yourself. You can't fault it, can you? And I think other religions do teach that as well. And Minato is saying, it's not only Christian influence, my friend. You are neglecting the science revolution, the Renaissance. Yeah, when it all came back, when we were reborn, Renaissance, being reborn. Is that what we need now? Another Renaissance. And good news if you're a computer geek, Grand Theft Auto 6 is now set to launch. Brilliant. Look forward to that. As you notice, the majority of the world want to copy the white system. You did nothing wrong. You didn't start slavery. You ended slavery. Okay. Well, I hope we don't start it again. Ladies and gents, I appreciate you joining me for these chats. I know we went on about aliens a little bit, but whatever you want to talk about, put it in the comments once this video is up. Give me a topic and we will go for it. This has been Lessons for Life, and we'll do it all again soon, God willing. We were here, we're gone. Laters. And thank you for everyone watching over on Sarah Dardasha. Good to see you.